Good day everyone, and welcome to the channel. It's Londononion here with a cleaner revisit. We had recently covered a role-based deck build for Walker. Since our last updates, however, there have been some changes worth considering to his build. First, we will take a brief recap of the deck build we suggested before the updates, then explore our changes and why. Now what won't change is his role designation, as his base perks have remained the same, though it is the card selections that can modify his strategic range. For those that weren't present, I would say there are three main categories cleaners tend to fall into with our modified visual: offense, defense, and support, as well as the subcategories in between. For Walker, he was categorized as defensive offense. Now, in regards to his deck, we originally had Superior Cardio, Hellfire, Marathon Runner, Life Insurance, Ammo Belt, Shredder, March for Death, Tactical Vest, Confident Killer, Silver Bullets, Large Caliber Rounds, Avenge the Fallen, Inspiring Sacrifice, Overprotective, and Amped Up. Now, the main basis for revisiting Walker's build is not necessarily because of card changes, but rather due to an addition in the cleaner roster. In this Onion's opinion, a diversified team of specializations is optimized for dealing with threats than too much overlap and duplicates of card combinations. For those who were present during our role-based deck build for Prophet Dan, both him and Walker, based on their builds, can function as the team's safety net. More specifically, this can be noticed with Amped Up, Avenge the Fallen, and Inspiring Sacrifice. Additionally, with Walker's core skill set, I would still give him the designation as being the bread and butter, but I would also slide away from the designation as the team's safety net. However, because of his skill set, there is plenty of room for variation. Of the three contingency cards, I decided to replace Inspiring Sacrifice and Amped Up. I figured for compounding purposes, Avenge the Fallen increases Walker's overall offensive edge as well as the rest of his team. It grants 30% increased general damage, 20% increased reload speed, and unlimited ammo for 10 seconds. As for the defensive and restorative aspects, a good number of other cleaners already have their varied responses to circumstances that demand such responses. Additionally, as far as offense goes, Walker would fit perfectly as the general damage expert, since Hoffman and Jim are the throwable/destructive and weak spot damage oriented cleaners respectively. As for the two remaining cards, I decided to employ True Grit and Defensive Maneuver. True Grit allows the holder to recover 10 units of health over 5 seconds after sustaining 15 units of damage from a single hit. Compounding Defensive Maneuver increases damage resistance by 25% for 3 seconds after sustaining the same amount of damage. So looking back at our spectrum that I have modified even further to aid with the explanation, these small changes would diminish Walker's restorative capability toward his team and allocate more of the points, so to speak, to the pragmatic side of mixed offense and defense. As far as general damage goes, provided all offensive card conditions are met, Walker can still theoretically inflict an additional 127.5% damage provided he is using an assault rifle or LMG. And his team will inflict an additional 40% general damage, not including whatever compounding cards they may have. Briefly moving on to his role designation, I would still argue that Walker is fitting for either the alpha or major role. And this will help to further explain my changes in his card selection despite the effects being similar. The use of both True Grit and Defensive Maneuver together is to aid Walker in staying on his feet, as opposed to solely waiting on a horde or fallen teammate to aid with restoration. As an alpha or major, he is better suited to having an effective first response to threats or potentially a hard response should there be a breach in team defense. This is where overprotective and avenge the fallen come into play. Additionally, he may potentially act as the closest bodyguard to the team's miner, and having the ability to sustain punishment is paramount to the miner's survival. This is also why I kept life insurance, which now grants 2 additional lives and has a team effect of 10% reduced in-cap trauma. With the addition of Prophet Dan, I would rather amplify Walker's sword and shield than maintain his reactive restorative responses. And after extensive testing with this build, I can conclude that it is still a build I like to use while playing on the higher difficulties. However, this brings us to the end of our revisit to Walker until another update should change his meta. Thank you guys for joining me on this one, and in our next video, a fair amount of you have been inquiring on a new build for Hang. Stay tuned as this will be coming up next. It's been Londononion, and I will see you guys next time.